Hey guys, the Explorer of Horror here, the Horror Boy. Welcome back to some more reviews, and welcome back to some more request reviews. And today, we're going to be getting to a requested review by my good friend AlkisenSuper, a really awesome friend that I've known for a while here on YouTube. He's been supporting me for a few years now, and I can't thank him enough for all of the support. I really appreciate it, man. 1,000 thank yous to you, because you've been here for a while. Really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody out there. 1,000 thank yous to everybody out there for all the support. I'm being very generous tonight, Thank you to everybody. For real though, thank you guys. I really appreciate all the support. And keep the requests coming. I want requests until October 31st, so you guys can keep them coming, man. I'm in a movie watching mood, and this is luckily a film that I didn't even really need to rewatch again, because it's a plot that, in a movie, well, technically the plot, I didn't even get the plot until I had to research the movie, but it's a movie that you really won't forget when you first seen it. And I seen it a year ago, and it's a movie that was requested by AlkisenSuper, and I figured I would review it for you guys. No, originally I was going to do a review for this movie. I think I even shot a review for this movie. But I didn't really post it because I still respect this movie. It's just really not a movie for me. So, I guess I just didn't post a review. Or maybe the video got corrupted or something. The video didn't get posted. But, of course, they're talking about Begotten. This 1989 film is weird because I've seen 89, 90, and 91. So, somewhere in that range of years is when this movie got released. But on IMDb it says 1989. Gets a 5.8, written by Elias Merhinge. I'm so sorry. I am terrible at pronouncing names. Begotten. Like I said, I didn't post a review because I really didn't want to. It wasn't a movie really for me, and also because, I know there are a lot of fans of this movie who would probably be like, you didn't understand it, you didn't get it. Even though I did research on it, I do understand the plot of the movie. It's just really, to me, in my opinion, it's not really a movie for me. And also, I feel like this movie would work a lot better as a 30-minute short. I think that's what it should have been, It's a movie that you could have trimmed down, and it really wouldn't affect anything. And I do appreciate it. It's not a bad movie. I don't hate this movie. I don't despise this movie. It's not garbage. I respect it. It is a film. It is different. I'll give it the utmost respect. It's just not my personal kind of movie. I'm not into super artistic films. Like, there's artsy films that I like that I think deserve a certain level of, artistic value, because it adds to the story, it adds to the illusion of the movie. But then there are some movies, and I have seen a few, where it's just like, man, it's so hard to follow certain movies out there because it is literally left up to you. Everything left up to you. No matter what it is, it's all left up to you. And literally this movie doesn't explain anything. It's just a series of events, and you got to piece it together. And luckily, there is a lot of forums out there. There's a lot of YouTube videos that will explain to you what this movie is. And basically what this movie is kind of I want to say a biblical approach, but with like a violent, biblical-ish type. I don't want to say biblical because there's not like a lot of biblical stuff in there. I guess the best way I can explain it is a visual representation of gods and Mother Earth birthing children of Mother Earth, and Mother Earth being raped by these people. Basically a lot of metaphors about that stuff. And for me, okay, let's get into the positives. First positive, I want to say this. The movie looks fantastic. I love the fact they used black and white cameras, and they filmed it in black and white. Because back in 89, and this was a very, very, very low budget movie, extremely low budget movie. Back in the day, to make a total black and white movie, and I believe they actually used like old cameras. They didn't use filters. They used old cameras. I can respect that. It gives the movie a really unique look, a really cool feel, and a very creepy vibe. The look of the movie is very creepy. There are times where maybe if you did it in color, it wouldn't be as creepy, but the fact that it's in black and white is what makes it so eerie and creepy. And it adds to the images, it adds to the film, it adds to certain scenes. And I think it makes the film look very, very creepy. There are certain scenes where it is disturbing. The imagery that you are shown is very graphic. It is a very graphic movie. You do see, the JJs and dicks, and you even see some nut busting in this movie. So I will say it is a very graphic movie. It shows everything. So yeah, a little warning about that. If you're gonna see Begotten, just to let you know, it's a little X-rated. It's got some gruesome stuff in there. It's got some disturbing imagery. The sound effects I thought were eerie and creepy. It added this layer of intensity and a layer of uncomfortableness. And the music I thought was fantastic. The music, there's a piece of music in this movie. It's when Mother Earth, I think, is in the forest. And that music, I thought, was both beautiful and haunting. And it's hard to get that because it's either one or the other. But this was like, okay, it starts off beautiful. By the end of the song, it's haunting. And it kind of bounces back and forth as well. Very, very creepy song. And very effective, too. And the rest of the music that you don't really hear a lot of music, but from what you do hear, it is a little eerie and a little creepy. I guess I could say this too, the direction of certain scenes. They don't seem fake. They don't seem staged. They don't seem phony. There's no CGI. They're handled well. This is a very low budget, and it made you seem like it was shot in another world, another dimension, another time. Just a timeless slope of this story. And, I will say this too, the special effects that are there, you see some pretty gory stuff in this movie. Entrail scenes, people getting limbs cut off and stuff like that. The gore is really graphic. It's really good-looking practical effects, and it's very unsettling gore as well. It's like really gruesome stuff in this movie. Not like through the entire movie, but there are some very graphic scenes in this movie that are very effective at disturbing you. I think the last thing I think of is I respect how different it is, because this is a very unique film, very unique vision from a filmmaker who was very passionate about this. He seemed like a really cool guy, and I respect that. I mean no disrespect to this film at all from this review. I actually do respect it, and I do recommend that people go watch it, because maybe you would love it. There's a lot of people that are really big fans of this movie, but I want to point out, it's got to be your kind of movie, because this movie is not really my kind of movie. That doesn't mean I really hate it. It's just not really my personal taste. It's not really my personal cup of tea. I'm a fan of artistic films to a degree, but we'll get into some of my issue with this movie as to why it's like a movie that I wouldn't say personally that I'm a huge fan of. But I will say this, I do recommend it. It's not a bad movie at all. You should go and experience Begotten, because I will say this, it is an experience unlike any other. It's a film that's totally unique and different from everything else you've seen, and I respect it a whole lot for that. I respect the passion behind it. I respect the fact that it had to be worked with a low budget. And I respect the fact that, it did what it set out to do. I guess I can also say there are some creepy images in this movie. Whether it's like to me, the most disturbing scene in this movie is the very opening scene, because you're seeing this hellish looking figure just moving around in pain, and the scene goes on for quite a bit, and it is a very unsettling scene. It's a very uncomfortable scene. It's a scene that's hard to watch. It has a razor and disembowels itself, and it's a very graphic disembowelment, and this woman comes out of nowhere, and Starts busting nuts. Not her busting nuts, bust his nuts, I guess you could say. But, God. It was a very disturbing opening. You know, it was very disturbing. It was imagery-wise, it was creepy. And it's a very iconic opening. I'll say that. That scene is so iconic because it would live on the internet for so long, and so many people would use that in creepy narration videos or creepypasta videos. If you go back to the years of scary videos, that clip has surfaced on YouTube so many times. It's a very influential scene. As far as issues for me, again, this is a movie that should have been 30 minutes long. I think if you trim down certain scenes and you made it a rough cut of like 30, 40 minutes, that's all you really need. Because there are scenes in this movie that go on for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, that don't really need to. Like, there's a 10, 15-minute opening, which is a really creepy opening, but then it gets to a point to where it's like, okay, we've seen the same scene for 15, 20 minutes. You know, it gets really... The pace of this movie, I think, is what, to me, is the big problem for me, is the one that kind of made me go, this really isn't for me. It's a very slow pace. A lot of scenes go on for 15, 20 minutes, and that was the main thing that, to me, that made me go like, oh, well... You know, if it was like I said, if it was a 30, 40-minute film, I think that would fix most of the problems, because everything else is pretty much nailed. But there are still a few problems, like the pacing. Like I said, it goes on and on and on. For me, a little bit too slow of a pace for me personally. Also, with there being no plot, there being no structure, completely being almost at times random, and having to pretty much guess what's going on. When you first watch it, you have no clue what's going on. Even if you're watching it, like, I've seen Eraserhead, guys. I love Eraserhead. I love that movie. I have seen artsy films. Eraserhead, yeah, I had to go research it a little bit, but when you watch it, you get the gist of the idea. Most of it is up to your interpretation, but you get the main storyline of what's going on in that movie. Here, you've got to completely use your imagination of what's going on. You've got to really figure it out, and that to me is a really big problem, because if you can't figure out what's going on, and it is like an hour, an hour and 30 minutes? No, it's only like an hour and 12 minutes. So it is a relatively short film, but like I said, it does still drag. When you're sitting there for that long and you don't know what's going on, it makes it to where, again, it adds to the drag factor to me. Because you don't know the characters, which I get it, you're not supposed to. You don't know the story, which I get it, you're not supposed to. But to me, that's very important things to feature-length films, is story, characters, and events happening. And, you know, the audience can say, ooh, what's this? What's that? But this is a movie that's not really meant to be like that. That's why I said it's not really my cup of tea. It's a movie that's completely different than, you know, any other film. It's a lot less about structure and story and more about imagery and telling this tale that you can pick up on yourself. And maybe if you rewatch it and do research, you can finally be like, oh yeah, that is Mother Earth, and that is God, and that is the child, and these are, I think it's like, not the wise men, but like these druid people that are carrying the son of Mother Earth, and then Mother Earth finds the son, and then Mother Earth gets murdered by man. Kind of gives like a message to where like, oh, Mother Earth is being killed by man and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a story that to me was hard to understand, even though if you do research it, I pretty much get the story now. But again, as an audience member, when you're watching the movie and you're not sure really where it's going, to me personally, that really stuck out to me. So those are some things that to me make me go, I watched it, I experienced it. It is a movie that exists. It's out there. You're either going to love it or you're not going to get into it. And to me personally, it just wasn't really for me. It's not a movie that I was a huge fan of. Not trash, not terrible. Just it's a movie that you got to be into. And if you don't get into it, you're not going to be a really big fan of it. But if you're into it, you're going to love the movie. It's going to be just for you. But, you know, not a bad movie. Got a lot of respect for it. It's definitely different. I want to thank AlkisenSuper for still recommending this movie and requesting it because, you know, it is a very unique film. But anyways, AlkisenSuper, I hope you enjoyed the review. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If I were to rate it, I'd give it like a 5. But it's not... It's hard to rate this kind of a movie because really, I don't know how to rate it because I can't rate it based on like the story and the characters and the acting because that really doesn't come into play. But if I had to rate it, I'd give it a 5, mainly because it is still creepy. It still has some very effective stuff in it. Just not really for me. But anyways, guys, do you like Begotten? Do you not like it? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. The Explorer 4 is out, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!